Hey guys, welcome back from your review week. I hope it was enjoyable and that you were able to make use of your time to catch up in all your classes. So from my understanding, if you are able to pass your Regents class, you will be given a pass for that Regents. So I'm still going to be teaching Regents style questions just to make sure that we still learn what we need to learn as if there was a Regents. So today we're going to be working on assignment 10, equation of a line from a graph. Okay, so let's start with a warm-up here called Name That Point. We're going to start with the orange one. So what you want to do here is go to the origin, which is 0, 0, and you'll notice that the x is actually at 0. I can't really go left or right anywhere, so that would be my first coordinate. But if I count up 3 spaces, I'll get my y coordinate. So let's try the purple one. Once again, I can't really go anywhere for my x, so that would be 0. Then I count down 1 space for my y. So because it's below the x-axis, it's going to be -1. All right, let's try another one, the blue. What do you think the coordinate would be for that point? And if you said 0, 3, you're correct. And let's try the green one. And if you said 0, -3, you would be correct. Okay, so you'll notice something about all these points. What they have in common is that they're all on the y-axis, and for every single point, the x value is 0. So let's keep that in mind. Okay, let's look at our next example. Let's just focus on the y-intercept. Now, just to remind you, the y-intercept is indicated by the letter B. Right there. This is the equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. B is the y-intercept. So whatever number goes there, that's the y-intercept. Whatever number will go here for m, that is the slope. So to find our y-intercept, we want to look at our y-axis and locate where the line touches that axis. And then again, we want to figure out the coordinate. So the x is always going to be 0, and we end up counting up 3 spaces from here, 1, 2, 3. So that would be the y-intercept. So when I'm going to write the equation of a line for this, it is going to look like y equals mx plus 3. Okay. Let's try another one. So for this one, I'm going to look at the y-axis. I notice that my y-intercept is below the x-axis. So my x is still 0, but now I'm counting down 5 spaces from the origin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that means my y-intercept is -5. So when I'm writing the equation of a line, instead of plus b, I would have -5. That's a minus sign, especially if you put in the calculator. It's not negative, it's minus. Okay, why don't you try one on your own? All right, so let's mix the two concepts. We have mx plus b. We're going to be talking about the y-intercept and the slope. So we have our line here. First thing we want to do is look at the y-axis and see where the line touches. And it's right there. You might already be thinking what the y-intercept is, but just to remind you, the coordinate of that point is 0, +1. So the y-intercept would be +1. Let's take a look at the slope. So if you remember, to find the slope on a graph, you need 2 points. And we're just going to do the rise, over the run. So from my green point to my yellow point, I rise 2. So the top of my fraction would be 2. And I run 1. So it'd be 2 over 1. Now 2 over 1 is the same thing as just 2. So now I'm going to put both pieces of information, the y-intercept and the slope, into the equation of a line. And it's going to be y equals 2x plus 1. And that's it. Okay, let's try another one. We have a new line here. I'm looking at my y-axis. See if you could figure out the y-intercept. It's right there. The coordinate would be 0, +5. So if you said +5, you are correct. Now for the slope, you can pick any 2 points you want. I would suggest that you make them close to each other. So we're going to figure out how much we rise, which is 3, and we run 2. So my slope is going to be 3 over 2. However, this line is a little bit different. If you remember from last time, if your line is going downhill, It has a negative slope, so that just means we put a negative sign in front of the slope. And when I'm putting everything together, my slope and my y-intercept, the equation of my line looks like this. Y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 5, and that's it. Let's try this again. Let's say they don't give you points plotted, but they give you a table. Easy, just plot the points. The first one is -1, -2. It's right down there. The next one is 0, 1, and then 1, 4, and I can't fit 2, 7. So just take a ruler and draw my line. First thing I want to find is my y-intercept. What do you think the y-intercept is? If you said +1, you are correct. The y-intercept is right there, up 1 space. The next thing I want to do is find my slope. So I pick any 2 points I want, figured how much I rise, which is 3, and I run 1, and the line is going uphill, so it is a positive slope. I can just leave that as 3, and my y-intercept being +1. So something I want to point out here, we talked about this in the warm-up, the y-intercept always occurs when x is 0. So I actually didn't even need to graph the points to solve this question to get the equation of a line, and I'll show you what I mean. So here I have the same question. Let's pretend I just have my table. So this point right here, that was my y-intercept, and that was the point 0, 1. So just by knowing where x is 0, I know my y-intercept. Wherever x is 0, that's my y-intercept under the y. So I didn't need the graph. All I needed to know was where that 1 was, and here's how you get the slope from a table. You don't need rise over run. You just want to figure out how do you get from -2 to 1. It'll be -2, -1, 0, 1, so it'd be +3. And then 1 to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the slope is going to be constant throughout the entire table. So my slope would be +3. So the equation of the line is still 3x plus 1. Let's try this again with a more complicated looking table. So you're looking to see when x is 0. So right there, when x is 0, whatever number is across from it is the y-intercept. So I go to my equation of a line. The y-intercept always goes at the end there in that spot. So I look at my table, x is 0 and y is 60. So there we go, plus 60. Now to get the slope, I need to know how do you get from one number to the next? What's the change or the rise? Well, to get from 60 to 65, that's plus 5. And that's true for the entire table. So right here on this spot, my slope would be +5. Okay, let's do another one. This one, let's say we're missing some information. I need to know when x is 0. I know what's going to happen there. I know whatever number goes in that box is going to be my y-intercept. So we're going to have to do a little detective work. So let's see. Let's find our slope. How do you get from 12 to 19? You can count on your fingers, or you can just do 19 minus 12. And you'll get 7. So that is your slope. So you can go ahead and fill that in. Now I'm going to use my slope to get my missing number. Going forward in the table, you're adding 7. So what do you think is going to happen when you want to go backwards in your table? The opposite of adding 7 will be subtracting 7. So I just have to do 12 minus 7 to find my missing number, which is +5. And that goes at the end of my equation. Cool. Let's do one more. So we have a table here. It looks a little scary. It's on its side, and we are still missing some information. All right, the first thing we can do is find our slope. How do you get from 10 to 13.2? Use subtraction. 13.2 minus 10, we get 3.2. So my slope is going to be +3.2. Now to get my y-intercept, which is the opposite of when x is 0, I just have to do the opposite of +3.2. So the opposite, just move me over there, of adding 3.2 is subtracting. So I do 10 minus 3.2, and what do we get? 6.8. So 6.8 goes right in that spot, and it's positive, so I put +6.8. Okay, now you try.